Welcome to the stream. My name is Lee. It is hot and miserable outside because I live in the northern hemisphere where it is summer. I'm not in Europe, luckily, but it is not fun in the northern hemisphere this time of year and getting worse every year. Wonder why. Anyway, bleh. Welcome on in. So it's hot and sticky and icky out, and computer is. Oh my, damn it. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Um, Well, I'm live anyway, so fun stuff. Let's do it. I don't even know where. I had not even checked the stream manager. I just kind of clicked start. So, hey, I guess we're live. Luckily, it was there. Okay, cool. Yay, us. We're live. No, hang on. That'll work, I guess. Sorry. 90% of is just like arranging things on your computer to like. I know like the big dogs like have it all set up ahead of time. I have it pretty well set up. I can get up quickly. It's just anyway. Ugh. So welcome. Hi, my name's Lee. For those of you who don't know, it is Tuesday. It is hot and sticky out. We're doing something. I don't know what we're doing yet. So my plan, such as it was, I guess. Oh, it's the day before. What is it? The day before. July. It is the last day of Pride Month, which means that this is the last month to donate to the last day to donate to the fundraiser for the Pride of 2026. Let me just see something real quick. It is 1,100 at least 1,101. Ooh, fun. So people have been donating still. A lot of my cousins donated, a lot of other people donated, and we had a really good stream, and it was awesome. Thank you all, everyone who donated, and there's still a little bit of time to donate for last minute donations, and then I'm going to close it out at 1,100 out of a hopeful hope 2,000. There were other stuff. They could have pulled other cards. For those of you who don't know, when I do fundraising streams, I usually do um, magic cards of some sort. There'll be some convoluted reason why they have this magical deck of cards that doesn't really do anything. Most of the time, except when it gets near them, it suddenly works, and because of mysterious reasons. The meta reason behind that is that the more they donate, the more that gets donated to the cause, the more cards they can pull. I usually, if I don't have any donations going in, which this month I did, um, I usually will put some of my own money in because honestly, um, it's a good cause and I want to help people. And yeah, because Trans Lifeline does a lot of really good work. And actually, I think. Anyway, I'm being. I think. Oh yeah, Trans Lifeline. Um, they started up microgrants again recently, and they've just been. And we can fund 2 whole microgrants, so that's pretty cool. Which means 2 people can get extra money to pay for hormone treatments and or legal name change. So don't have to pay the stupid fees and stuff because they got a grant from Trans Lifeline thanks to our own efforts, which is kind of cool. And hopefully someone picks a really good name on a microgrant. What was I gonna say? Microgrants aside, life is good. I am. It's hot and sweaty, and Pride is almost over. But Pride is year round, and um, I'm not ashamed to be some sort of gender freak. And okay, here's our first ad break. I am going to actually tell you what. I my computer, I don't have the coolant set up properly. I did not think this through. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tweak that briefly, and then so we'll have like a little bit of an ad break. I'll tweak that, and then we'll come here and I will do something cool. What cool thing, you ask? Well, I don't know. If you have any suggestions, put them in chat. I only have one viewer, so whoever it is gets to. Um, um, uh, oh, I also forgot to do. Um, Okay. Yay. Um. Plan is go here. Okay, it says just okay. There we go. There we go. All right. Here. Up. Oh. All right. I'm back. Kinda. Great. Ugh. You. Here. Okay. So. Uh huh. Hang on. Wait. Let me do one last thing before I make the thing about thing about. Okay. All right. We're back. Hi. Welcome back, everyone. Hello. Hello. I'm going to go to my own http:// yeah, it would help if I put the A in LHawk, because that is, kind of, spelling your own, channel name right helps with, and you have to put the L on the right side of the H, because, there we go, yay, I put the link successfully, I've only done it a million times. Okay, so, welcome back. Now, what are we up to? We are doing, um, fun stuff. What sort of fun stuff, you might ask? Well, um, um, floop. Okay. Um, okay. Um, okay, so, oh boy. All right, let's. Why don't we do? Because it's hot, and I wanted to stream something. Let's open up my file of all of the old random stuff that I. No. Um, this one. Yay, Lost in. Okay, that's. Oh, I have a copy of Heavy Metal, which Oh, these are all of the amazing encounter stuff. 10 issues of Beneath Ceaseless Skies. Um, what is this Book of Spells? We have a random Book of Spells. Let's see what it is. Book of Lost Spells. Um, it is a Pathfinder role-playing game compatible. Frog God Games is probably first edition compatible, but then authors, and artists, editors, layout, cover art is Felipe Gaon. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, but dang, that's a pretty cool picture. Sorry, I like to show off art. Hang on, you can see this, right? Yes. Hi, ahoy, ahoy, welcome on in. I have a book called The Book of Lost Spells that I forgot I had. So, I was thinking we could poke at it, because, honestly, we got it. But first I have to move it. So the first thing you do is go like this. And then I go like, and then, close this. I'm trying to organize all of my stuffs. So, the last spells. Here we go. So basically, I have, Yay! Okay. Basically what I've been doing is, let's see if I can't make this look nicer. Maybe a little, yeah, maybe. That looks better. Kinda. It does actually absolutely nothing. Come on. Wait, what? Like that. Not help? Maybe? A little bit? Okay. So this is the Book of Lost Spells. It is a book that I have procured at some point. Bought a PDF copy of from Frog God Games. Jeff Harkness, Erica Bousley, Karen Lockwood. Those are the editors. Um, Open game license and not open game content. Trade artifacts, creatures, characters, stories, plot lines, thematic elements, dialogue, incidents, language, artwork, symbols, designs, pictures, likenesses, format, poses, concepts, themes, and photographic and other visuals or audio representations, names and descriptions of characters, spells, enchantments, personalities, teams, personas, likenesses, special abilities, places, locations, environments, creatures, equipment, magical or supernatural abilities, effects, logos, symbols, or graphic designs. Any other trademark or registered mark clearly identified as product identity. Previously released open game content excluded from the above list. Okay. Cool. That's legalese, but I'm sure it's important. So it's compatible with the Pathfinder role-playing game. Requires the Pathfinder role-playing game Paizo Publishing, where you can get, that's where you go to Paizo for more information on the Pathfinder role-playing game. Does not guarantee compatibility or endorse the product. Okay. So, A, B, it's in alphabetical order. List of spells by class, and then alphabetical order. So, and then this is the people behind Frog God Games. Okay. So, okay, so this is list of spells by class. So you got Anti-Paladin, Bard, Alter Scent. Hang on. Let's see. Sorry, we're getting distracted. But yeah, these are Druid, level 8, level 9 spells. The Bards only go up to level 6 because in Pathfinder 1st Edition, Bards only can cast up to level 6 spells, which is kind of a shame, but to get other cool abilities. Mass Dancer's Grace, Death Imposition, Deep Stupor, Giant's Potency, Harmonious Disillusion, Illusory Illusion. That is, what is it? Okay, now I'm curious. Oracle and Cleric, Bleeding Plague, no. Okay, let's see what we got. We got Druids. We got Paladins, Rangers, Sorcerer, and Wizard. All right, Okay, let's look at some of these spells because now I'm just kind of going. Abiding Webs. It's a 4th level wizard spell. Exactly like the 2nd level web spell, except that it swarms with thousands of tiny, harmless spiders that repair and replace damaged sections with supernatural speed and efficiency. Biting webs are permanent, and the spiders within them need neither food nor air to survive for centuries. Spiders are creations of the spell and cannot be targeted by any attack. They are continually replenished by the magic of Abiding Web, and exist as long as the spell does. If a section is burned or cut away, the spiders repair a 5-foot square of the Abiding Web each round, making the web's destruction nearly impossible without magical assistance. The webs can be permanently destroyed only by magical fire attacks that are capable of engulfing the entire area of webbing or by dispel magic. So you just got webs there for days, forever. Listen, I'm not. Um, yeah, okay. Um, and I have to do that so it doesn't beep on the stream because otherwise it'll get annoying. But also need to text. My friend said, "Hey, you should text me every time you're streaming," and I tell him by the time I remember I'm streaming, I'm already on stream. Anyway, but yeah, so that's kind of cool. I mean, maybe we'll just go through an order. Okay, I want to know acid black. These are all advance the years. Causes magical permanent aging in the target. All normal effects of aging apply. Ability score adjustments as if the target would age those years naturally. 1d10. So yeah, you just get 10 years worth of extra joint pain. Ugh. And other problems. Agitate. Agitate crowd. Compulsion, language dependent, mind affecting. Range is close. 25 feet, plus 5 feet for every other level. A large group of people to your service to accomplish a specific goal. You achieve this effect by speaking emphatically on the subject for 10 minutes, attempting to inflame their emotions in favor of a cause or purpose or against a person, place, or thing, and stating clearly the specific goal you wish to achieve. Examples of possible speech themes might be: the Academy Wizards is evil and corrupt and must be destroyed, follow me and we will raze it to the ground, or the Prince's castle is in danger, come with me and we will defend it against all attackers. The subject of the spell must be able to hear you, and only those who can understand the language you are speaking are affected by the spell. The stated goal does not have to be one that would normally be viewed favorably by those listening. The magic of the spell overcomes alignment and other normal restrictions on behavior. Of course, if you compel people to actions that would normally be viewed unfavorably, they may be quite angry when the spell wears off. Yes, that is generally a thing. It's 1 hour per level. So, basically, you got them for an hour, and then they come to their senses and realize they've just joined a mob, an angry mob, and they're definitely not going to be happy about that. At the end of a 10-minute casting time, all potential targets of the spell must make a will save or be compelled to follow your orders for the duration of the spell, so long as you personally lead them and all of your words and actions are clearly directed toward the goal you have specified. No morale checks or the determinations of the crowd's actions are required, so long as you fulfill the above conditions. If you violate them, however, the spell ends instantly. The spell also ends when the stated goal is achieved or when normal duration expires. Those who succeed the will save are unaffected by the magic. Their response to your words is determined normally by their alignment and general beliefs and by their specific reaction to you. These people may still, of their own accord, choose to help you, of course, and they may also be moved to oppose you. Okay, that's kind of cool, though. That's make a rallying speech. Okay, it's also really cool artwork. Do they credits Airbridge? That's an illustration of Airbridge, which is a conjuration spell. This one just allows the fish to breathe air or other water-breathing creatures. Invisible bridge to walk across. Air bridge. Invisible bridge to walk across, as illustrated by this lovely little drawing here. No direct artist credit, but bright enough for you, plus one person per 2 cast levels, connects whatever 2 points that you select, provided they're within the bridge's maximum length. 25 feet plus 5 feet per every 2 levels. Although the bridge is not visible, it does have substance. Rain strikes it rather than passing through, and flour or dust could be used to coat it. Anyone can walk across this bridge while it exists. Okay. Oh, right. We're gonna look at the illusion and figure out what the heck illusory illusion means, because there's an extra double illusion spell that bards get, and I want to know what this is. We can look at some of the other ones too. Basically, my goal is, I guess today's stream is just kind of going through for a little bit and poking at some of the spells, looking at how cool they are. Frog God Games I've met some of the people from Frog God Games. They come to cons and stuff occasionally, and they are cool people. Let's see. And I appreciate that it's laid out like one straight line instead of 2x2. That is definitely, in almost all cases, the superior PDF layout. Unless you have maps. But something like this, especially, it's absolute, because then you can scroll properly. Let's see. I could have used the H-I-J. Okay. Too far. That's the L's. Itemize. Iron. Ooh, itemize. Divination. It's a 0. It's a cantrip. The spell allows you to instantly know the quantity of any items of a similar nature within the spell's area of effect. The spell only counts what would be obvious to you. For example, you could use the spell to quickly determine the number of bottles of wine in a wine rack, but not which bottles are different varieties of wine, since this would require you to open the bottles and smell taste the contents. You can't however calculate the amount of copper coins in a pile, even if you cannot see every coin. That's kind of cool. That is a handy cantrip. Now, if actually, wizards can just learn all cantrips, I think, depending on. So you could just do that. Okay. I think you can learn all the cantrips, but you have to pick which ones you do every day. In 5e, usually you just know an X number of cantrips and you cannot add them to your spellbook. I usually, in 5e, still allow wizard players to swap cantrips if they find the spellbook version for cantrips. But, you know. I also let them swap their spells if you sit for an hour and work on your spellbook. You can swap your spells, even if it's the middle of the day and you've already used some spells. Um, Clerics too. You just have to ask your god. Spend an hour, the same time you would usually spell to prep them in the first part. The first part of the day, you have to do that. Just you can do it again, but it still takes a full hour, which means that you can't. It's a planning. Like, I don't think it's too overpowered necessarily, but that's something I let my players do. My wizard players do, and clerics, prep casters essentially. Infuse, insomnia. Okay, immunity to fear, immunity to energy. Okay, sorry. What does this one do? This abjuration grants a creature total immunity from damage to whichever of 5 energy types you select: acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic. The spell protects the subject's equipment as well. Immunity to energy grants immunity to damage only. The subject could still suffer unfortunate side effects such as drowning in acid. Drowning damage comes from lack of oxygen or becoming encased in ice. Interesting. View passion, impart strength, illusory setting, illusory illusion. This is like extra illusion-y illusion? I have no idea. Sounds interesting. This devious and complicated spell is intended to make real objects appear to be illusions. Anyone interacting with the affected object should make a will save as per the standard rules for disbelieving illusions. A successful will save indicates that the PC senses the subtle magic of illusion covering the object, at which point he is likely to assume the object is actually a spell, such as programmed image. He pays the price for the assumption if the object is a creature intent on attacking him. In other words, the PC does indeed detect a real illusion, but the illusion is merely a layer upon the very real object. The illusory illusion tricks the character into assuming certain object is an illusion. Conversely, a failed will save means the PC wasn't intuitive enough to detect the faint presence of illusion magic, so he behaves it as if the object were real, which it truly is. That is, I mean, in fairness, you could do that with any illusion spell, but like, that is, that is crazy. That's just, like, you put a layer of illusion over a real thing, and then if they succeed on the save to detect the illusion, they detect that it's an illusion, but it's real underneath. I feel like that's just. I feel like someone came up with that, and yeah, I feel like that's just a similar, like, what's the word? That's just a fun. Like, you could do that with any illusion spell. I'm just, yeah, I'm just, yeah, we could probably do that with any illusion spell. It's just, someone was like, that is a really cool way to do it, and wanted to do something with it, so they made an entire new spell. But that is fun, though. I like it. Illusory illusion. Um, okay. This is that. Okay, identify tracks, which is a second level druid or first level ranger spell. Yeah, Bard 6. So that's the other thing about Pathfinder first edition is sometimes spells will be a different level spell depending on class. Um, that's a balance thing. So something that would be a, say, a 5th level bard spell might be a 7th level wizard, if because it's more heavily, it's easier and to do via bardic magic. I would imagine that makes multi-classing even more of a nightmare, but still. Most of them are just the same, like Cleric Oracle 8, Sorcerer Wizard 8. That's the other thing about, other thing about Pathfinder First Edition, is that the Wizards and Sorcerer spell list are identical. It's one spell list for Wizards and Sorcerers. Now, Sorcerers only get a handful of spells from the list, because, that is how it goes. But, improved senses, dark vision, plus 10 competence bonus to perception checks. Scent ability. See Pathfinder role playing games bestiary. So yeah, you can smell stuff. Which is kind of cool. I guess we're just going, unless someone has a very specific um, 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 okay. Um, but yeah. I didn't even do the thing which I was going to do. But, um, okay. Let me see. I'm getting distracted. What's imbue passion? View two targets with a powerful love or hate for one another. You select the emotion each feels. It's an hour per level. Who hates? One person can love the other who hates him in return. If one subject fails the save and the other succeeds, the spell still compels the first subject. Both subjects do not have to fail the saving throw for the spell to be effective. These emotions to overwhelm any normal feelings to have for one another. And then it wears off, and you realize that, you know. So it is mind affecting magic, and has all of the pitfalls and dubious, consent issues with mind affecting magic. Uh, um, um, all right. Poof. Okay. So that's a fun one. Definitely got the same kind of vibes of what's an illusory setting. Imaginary setting. Use the spells to make a drab hut look like a palace or a dreary desert resemble a lovely garden, but it can be used any other way to make a place look worse than it really is. Spell is fixed to that location. How much? 50-foot radius area. So 50-foot radius area. It's kind of like hallucinatory terrain in 5e, seems like, except it's a little broader in what it can do. Um, 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 Alright, but, okay, so there's a illusory setting. Let's see. Fixed the location and is permanent. Objects within the area can be moved about as long as they don't leave the spell's area. They retain their altered appearance. So, crude clay jug can look like a lovely glass carafe and can be moved about within the hut palace, but if it's taken outside the building, it reverts to being a crude jug. Interesting. It's a 6th level spell. That's not bad for a 6th level. Permanent. Okay, impressive blow. Standard action, 1 round. You instill the power into a weapon so that its next blow is more impressive. Next time the weapon hits successfully, it does double the normal damage dice of the weapon. Spell functions like and does not stack with Vital Strike feat. Interesting. I wonder if it stacks with crits though. Do you get if you get a crit while using that? Do you get quadruple? You might. Um. Um. Yeesh. Let's see. Oh yes, today is my mother's birthday. Fun fact. Okay. Improved senses, infinite knowledge, granted blind sight in a 60-foot radius. Receive plus 10 insight bonus on perception survival checks. So it's more like infinite perception. It's not like you know exactly what's in 60 feet of you. Which is very, very helpful, in fairness, but not infinite knowledge. I feel like that's a really cool name for a less cool spell. Infirmity. Channels a charnel stench arises from the ground in the affected area, causing a powerful life-sapping effect that robs all within the area of 1 point of strength damage for 2 caster levels to a maximum of -10. Anyone who resists successfully suffers only half the ability damage. In either case, the lost strength points return at the accelerated rate of 1 point per hour, as soon as you get out of the area of effect. Okay, so this is like a worse version of Stinking Cloud. That's kind of cool, actually. Inflict Lycanthropy. So it's a 5th level for Cleric, 6th levels for Sorcerer and Wizard. It's one of those ones we talked about. Fortitude, you can change it with the Fortitude save. Self for 1 living creature. It's a full round casting. If you cast it upon yourself, you need a drop of blood, so you have to get a drop of blood from the intended target or recipient. So you can use a focus, a silver dagger, a divine focus, or verbal somatic material. Or do you need both? Huh. If you cast upon yourself, you may choose what form of lycanthropy you contract, and for the duration of inflict lycanthropy, you possess all the powers of that type of lycanthrope. It's 1 day per level, okay, so it's temporary. Sorry. You ever feel like you're about to sneeze and then you don't? You can feel the pent up sneeze. It's just not sneezing. Yeah, that's what's happening to me. Okay, I'm also crashing, but I want to keep going for a little bit because I want to have a decent length of stream. Okay, pre-roll is on. I'm gonna think we're okay for now in terms of coolant. Wait, what did I do? Okay, nothing happened, hopefully. But yeah. Oh wow, we have a lot of viewers. Hi everyone, welcome on in. My name is Lee, and apparently there are a lot more of you than there were before, so welcome. We're just doing Frog God Games. Has this supplement of fun little extra spells. Let's see. It's called Book of Lost Spells. Frog God Games. It's mechanically tied, mechanically compatible with mechanically compatible with Pathfinder First Edition, maybe Second Edition too. It doesn't specify. 190. There's okay. What is on the X page? I wonder. Wolf's Howl. Possess fewer hit dice than your cast level, must succeed on a will save, or flee as if affected by a fear spell. It's verbal and somatic, which means you probably have to actually howl. It's Druid or Ranger, 2nd level. Other intelligent opponents or animals whose hit dice exceed your caster level must also succeed on a will save or suffer -1 morale penalty to attack rolls for 2d4 rounds due to the eerie and frightening nature of the howl. This spell is not effective against vermin. Ooh, not effective against vermin. Sonic mind affecting fear effect. So basically, I think you actually have to howl, but you can make it magical, and so people are actually afraid, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Wolf Howl, Woodland Shriek. Plants and bushes in an area to shriek wildly if smaller, larger creatures entered the warded area. The shrieking plants are audible up to a mile away. This alarm warning is rather non-specific and can often be triggered by animals such as deer that would normally be considered harmless. Once the shriek is triggered, the spell ends. Invisible, ethereal, or astral creatures do not trigger the shriek. Spell fails if it's cast on a sentient plant. So, that's interesting. So basically you can cause plants to freak out if anyone enters the area, which is kind of helpful, I guess. Then you got Words of Thunder. Rack the Mind. Effective only on creatures with intelligence of 3 or higher. Upon casting, your hand glows with crackling black and red energies. If you then succeed on delivering a melee touch attack on any creature, the target is immediately drained of 1d4 points of intelligence and must make a will save. If the save is successful or no other effects are suffered. Should the target fail the will save, drained of an additional 1d6 point of intelligence and suffers a random debilitating effect on a d6 table. Severe phobia to relatively common abject. Spoons would be appropriate subject. Dart would not. Unable to use intelligence-based skills, target becomes confused, suffers amnesia, unable to recall any details of his past, and is unable to cast spells or use knowledge skills. Target's mind regresses to a childlike state. His hit points and ability scores, aside from the intelligence drain, remain unchanged. All other aspects of the character are created as if first level commoner. Interesting. Hit points and ability scores stay, except intelligence, but loses all abilities. Dang. All effects of the spell are permanent and may be eliminated only with a remove curse, miracle, or wish spell. A remove curse spell removes only the intelligence drain or the debilitating effect, so 2 castings are required to completely cure the target. The force that gives the spell power are not easily controlled and can backfire on the wielder. If the spell is not discharged within 8 rounds of casting, it rebounds on you, causing you to suffer the full effect of the spell with no saving throw. So you have 8 rounds to hit with the melee touch attack, and if you don't hit in 8 rounds, you basically take the spell yourself. So basically, you lower their intelligence score, which doesn't come back until remove curse, and also then you also do another d6, d6 extra damage plus one of these effects, which is kind of crazy. Wait a second, there's an enchantment. Bard 2, Sorcerer 2. Spell has no effect when cast on a non-spell caster, including those who have spell-like abilities as opposed to prepared spells. Spell-casting targets must make a will save to resist the effects. The DM should roll the save secretly if the spell is affecting a player character, as the target of the spell cannot be certain if he resisted or not. If the saving throw fails, the next spell the caster invokes is chosen randomly by the GM from the caster's remaining prepared spells, or simply chosen by the GM for more interesting role-playing, leaning toward absurd or disastrous given that the spell stems from the god of trickery and the unlucky. If the caster has only one spell prepared, then afflicted by the worst luck, it has no effect. Worst luck must take place within an hour of casting or its power is lost. So if 1 hour maximum. Oh, until discharged. 1 hour maximum. So basically, the next time the target casts a spell, assuming they don't make the save, it's a random spell. That's interesting. I could see that being a thing. I'm trying to figure out how I would calibrate these to 5th edition, because that's because that's what I play. Mostly simply because that's what my players are familiar with. So I play a lot of 5th edition, and I wouldn't necessarily. This is kind of cool. Like, I could give the players or NPCs these spells, but yeah, I would have to calibrate them. Like, well, let's do that. Let's see. Worst luck. So be a level 2 wizard sorcerer, level 2 bard. So I just say bard or sorcerer or wizard. Okay. Standard action. Okay, so it's a I'd say yeah, okay, an action. Component. Verbal, somatic, divine focus. Okay, no, let's get rid of thunder. Okay, worst luck. Bard, a sorcerer, wizard. Okay. So verbal, somatic. Spellcaster. I mean, the next spell cast within an hour. I might take the within an hour part out. Will negate, so that would be a wisdom saving throw. Resistance, yes. Spell resistance isn't a thing in 5e, which I tried to give it to one of my player, an NPC, no, a monster, and freaking my one of my players was so very, very annoyed about it. I was like, okay, fair. There's only so much you can push your players, and claiming it wasn't fair, and that's kind of, it's a thing from the earlier editions. It's like a thing, and it's like, yeah, but people are expecting to be able to use the spells. I'm like, yeah, but you can't. That's the whole point. Anyway, ooh, wound reading. Hang on, divination. This is a 2nd level spell for clerics, druids, rangers. Wait, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, chosen randomly by the GM from the caster's remaining prepared spells, or simply chosen by the GM for more interesting role-playing. Okay. let's see. Touching the wounds with subject. Sorry, wound rating. Touching the wounds with subject shows you a mental image of what inflicted the injury: another person, a monster, a trap, self-inflicted wound, so on. If the subject did not see the attacker, you gain no information using this spell. So you only get the information if the person remembers receiving the wound, which kind of sucks. So yeah, you get their perspective on it, which means that if they didn't see it or remember how it happened, well, that's an interesting question, because if they didn't see the attacker, if they didn't remember it, that's an interesting question. And that would be a DM adjudication thing. Does if they saw it, don't remember it because of a spell, or even they saw it and they were they simply forgot because it was a minor injury, like a bruise, for example. I come up with all these bruises from work all the time, but if I probably remembered in the moment getting hit, and then being annoyed about it, but I wouldn't necessarily, probably would be aware of it at the time, forget later, or have it squished into the whole shift. Like, it kind of becomes a blur of I was standing there, and, you bang your elbow halfway through a merc shift, you don't remember by the end of the shift, you forgot and banged it, especially if it's not sore, and then you get a bruise the next day. It's like, I accrued that somewhere at work, but I don't remember. If someone were to use the magic on that, now, using it for bruises would kind of be pointless, but then would you be able to ascertain or not? Like, if the person didn't see it, do they have to remember it, or do they just have to have seen it? Well, okay, it did say, like, it'd be difficult to cast. Yeah, the other thing is if they saw, but, like, because if they saw it and remembered it, you could just ask them. I feel like there's got to be some utility beyond that, and can't remember might be part of that, if that makes sense. I don't know. That would be a DM education thing. And then this is Rack the Mind, is that one. Okay, that's the Shriek. Word of Thunder. When uttered, the words, plural, of thunder quickly rise to a tremendous pitch and washes outward as a tangible boom of sound. All creatures within 60 feet of the caster with 30 or fewer hit points are immediately deafened and dazed, with no saving throw for 1 round. Creatures between 30 and 60 hit points are deafened but not dazed for 1 round. Creatures with more than 60 hit points are unaffected. Words of Thunder can be cast within magical silence, and it also destroys all magical silence within 60 feet of the caster, though creatures that were in the zone of silence are insulated from the effects of Word of Thunder. So you can break a silence by the sheer loudness of the spell. The 6th level spell. But you can't deafen anyone if there was magical silence before. It just breaks the silence. Interesting. Okay. Xenophobic Rage. I feel like this is not great. Enchantment, Compulsion, Mind Affecting. It's an 8th level for Clerics and Oracles, 7th for Wizards. Standard action, Versomatic and Focus, or Divine Focus. So it's a close range one, 25 feet. Target 1 medium, smaller humanoid, 1 per 4 levels. So if you're 8th level caster, that means you get 2. If you're 12th level caster, you get 3, etc. Concentration, up to 1 round per level. So you can make it last up to 1 round per level, but you have to concentrate. Okay. Will partial. Okay, so you can partially negate it, which is safe for half, but also what's this do? Sow chaos by drawing upon the secret fears of the target to make them instantly aggressive to anyone not of their own race. Elves won't attack elves, but they do attack the nearest dwarf, halfling, gnome, or human without pause. Okay, so you can just make them into a racist asshole. That is interesting. You give the target an us against them mentality, where everyone of their own race is us and every other creature is them, and deserving of a deep-seated feelings of hatred and rage. The targets use all of their skills to the best of their ability to destroy their enemies, which basically include anyone not of their own race. This potent enchantment lasts up to 1 hour per level and cannot be removed with Dispel Magic. Oh, wow. A break, enchantment, heal, limited wish, miracle, or similar magic must be used to bring the spell to an early end. Those targets fortunate enough to make their will saves are still affected as if by a confusion spell for 1 round. Okay, that is a that's a spell. Um, that is a dang. That's a spell. Okay, I'll put a pin in that one. Sorry, I'm crashing. I feel like, um. Okay, let me get. I'm also out of liquid. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna. I know it's technically because we have the pre rolls on. So if I give you a 1 minute ad, that will erase the pre rolls for anyone coming into the stream, and that will let me stretch and get more liquid and hopefully stop crashing hard because I want to keep going with the stream for at least a little while. So, if you will bear with me for 1 minute. Exactly. Literally a minute. Ugh. Okay. Math. Alright. Okay. Ugh. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. We still have 4 viewers. Apparently, you all stayed. So thank you for staying. Appreciate it. Um, this yellow smoke. Okay. Creates a bank of fog similar to that created by Stinking Cloud, except the vapors sicken living creatures in the cloud. This condition lasts as long as creatures in the cloud for 1d4 plus 1 rounds after it leaves. Roll separately for each sickened character. Any creature that succeeds on its save but remains in the cloud must continue to save each round at the start of your turn. Yellow smoke can be made permanent with a permanency spell. Permanent yellow smoke dispersed by wind reforms in 10 minutes. That is so. It's a second level spell. Just sicken living creatures in the cloud. I feel like that's just sinking cloud, but maybe a little bigger. It's 100 feet. Okay. Cloud spreads in a 20-foot radius, 20 feet high. Okay, that's a lot, though. Fortitude doesn't negate. Okay. What is the Zephyr of Death? You send a light breeze past your enemies. Whispers and taunts of death and mayhem carried quietly on the breeze. Okay, it's a fear, mind affecting, 8th level spell. So this is a powerful one. It's an evil necromancy spell, too. Um, wind, whispers and taunts of death and mayhem carried quietly on the breeze send such horrible images into their minds that weak-willed are driven to their own deaths by their secret fears. The breeze extends from your mouth in a cone, maximum distance of 100 feet before losing its power. You are able to extend your mental power to slay as many as one. Okay, so 1d4 hit dice of creatures per caster level, with creatures above 10 hit dice being immune to your manipulations. 1d4 per caster level. So, and it's a 8th level spell, so that's at least 10. So that's at least 10 hit dice worth of creatures, bare minimum. That's a lot. Yeah, it's 12d4, I think, at least. Being immune. So anyone over 10 HD is immune, but that's still quite a few. Closest creatures are affected first. With all creatures, the will save to resist the effects. Undead creatures and outsiders are immune from this spell. Outsiders, I think, are phase fiends, um, um, Fey fiends, uh, and maybe aberrations. I think so. That does have some limits. Some Zombify self. This personal target you. Oh, you could cast out a familiar, I think. Spell converts your body into that of zombie. You become immune to poison, sleep, paralysis, stunning, and disease. You are no longer subject to non-lethal damage, ability damage, energy drain, or death from massive damage. Your dexterity decreases by 4 for the duration of the spell, and suffer -4 penalty to charisma whenever you must make a bluff or diplomacy check. Yeah, you're a zombie. Bluff and diplomacy are very similar to deception and oh, hi, bees! I haven't seen you in ages. Hi, welcome on in. I just saw it. This one is a supplement. Here, that is what it's. From Frog God Games, Book of Lost Spells. It is Pathfinder. It is compatible. What does Hide the Soul do? It's compatible with Pathfinder. Procrastinating for college. Yep, I've been there. I got my degree though, so yay. But yeah, I've been in that place where you're like, I should probably be doing this essay, but like, let's not. um, but that's summer classes as well, which are a whole other level of because it's hot and no one else is in school. But I only took one summer class, I think, my entire 4 years, and it was kind of cool. It was a creative writing class, so it wasn't that bad, but yeah. Welcome on in. I am found this Pathfinder First Edition um, supplement that I had from ages ago, and I've been poking through and looking at some of these spells. I bet you could adapt them to 5th edition, honestly. It would just take a little bit of tweaking and balancing, but Zombify Self, that is, let's see, -4 on Bluff or Diplomacy, Deception or Persuasion. Also, because the concentration of negative energy within you, you're vulnerable to energy channeling. Cure spells damage you, and inflict spells heal you. Same Pathfinder has the cure wounds will cause damage to undead, and inflict wounds will heal undead. And then the channel energy, which is the divine clerical ability, does that. You channel positive, which heals the living and hurts the undead. Or the opposite, which hurts the undead but heals the living. I think in 5th edition it doesn't hurt the undead, which I still think is kind of dumb. But there's a lot of things in 5th edition that I have learned to live with because my players are, insistent. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to modify the rules too much. But apparently, though, you can't crit fail saving throws. Like you can roll a nat 1 and you can't if your bonus is high, which I would never allow for. Like nat 1, I would say for a saving throw always fails, and a nat 20 always succeeds, even if you otherwise wouldn't. Just because, like I know crits don't officially apply for saving throws in 5e, but yeah, that is fair. If you have a small child trying to organize your life, yeah, having a couple extra semesters to ease it down, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. But, yeah, it does make sense if you're trying to have fewer classes and spread them out, then doing them in the summer probably helps. But, I can understand that much. But yeah, you can turn yourself. Okay, when the spell ends, you must succeed on DC 15 Fortitude save or be stunned for 1 round and take 5d4 points of damage as the negative energy ravages your body as it is forced out. If this damage kills you, you rise the next night as a zombie unless you're blessed. Exactly. You see, sometimes things just like work, and sometimes things just work out in your favor. Now, 5% is very high for that, but even still, sometimes these things just work. Sometimes you get you're dodged and you're lucky. What is Zone of Ablation? Anti-paladin or regular paladin? Or I thought we both. You surround yourself with a barely perceptible shimmering field that reduces damage from most physical sources. So it's only a paladin spell, but also anti-paladin. But it's paladin, basically only a paladin. It's just anti-paladins are you know, same theory. All variable dice of damage from purely physical sources, such as weapon attacks and falling, is minimized to 1 point per die. This includes damage from critical hits and sneak attacks, but does not include damage from special effects such as poison or energy effects. It also does not affect variable effects that do not cause direct hit points loss, such as ability to score damage or drain. I wonder, it says from most physical sources, purely physical sources such as weapon attacks and falling. It doesn't say non-magic weapon attacks, so something like a basic +1 sword might not go past. And if it was a sword that had, exactly, it's basically a mechanical of paladinness rather than a good aligned one. Still, though, that's pretty good. But yeah, I would say maybe a minus, like it would do, the bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing would still go down to 1. But any secondary, like it does fire and slashing, it would do the fire damage as usual, but not the slashing damage. That's how I'd rule it as a GM, I think. It's kind of cool. Zephyr of Death. What is... There's one in H that... Hang on. Just one... What? Sorry, I'm just kind of going with ones. I can't read all of them, so I'm just... Which ones look interesting? Ooze Bolt. Bolt of gray ooze springs up from your hands and flies toward the target. You must succeed on a ranged touch attack to hit. Bolt deals 2d6 points of acid damage. So it's a 3rd level spell. Well, 2nd level for a wizard, 3rd level for a cleric. And it's ranged touch attack, 2d6 of acid damage with no splash damage. For every 3 caster levels you possess, up to cast level 15, so up max 5. The acid, unless somehow neutralized, lasts for another round, dealing another d6 points of acid damage for that round. And since it's a 3rd level spell, you're at least level... Well, okay, as a cleric or oracle, you're at least level 5 if you cast it. Ooh, yeesh. Sorry, my computer is exceptionally prone to overheating. And I have some stuff that cools it off a little, but it's apparently not doing the trick. Okay. Open Trail is transmutation, a druid or a ranger. It's a little harder for druids. Enables you to open a narrow 20-foot opening through thick underbrush and heavy growth. The opening is 5 feet wide and 20 feet long and starts from the casting point and moves in the direction indicated by the caster. The opening then moves along with the caster while he walks, providing a safe moving path through even the thickest of growth. Plants move or bend away from the opening and then close behind it, leaving no sign anyone has passed through. One of the main benefits is the ability for a party to travel at normal speed through thick undergrowth for the duration of the spell. So yeah, right, it's basically 20 feet, so you can have up to 4 people in front and 3 in front and 3 behind, so as long as the ranger stays in the middle. Let's see. Anyone attempting to track people who pass through the wilderness using an open trail spell suffer -10 penalty on all survival checks. If the caster takes any damage, the concentration required to maintain the spell is broken, and the vegetation begins to slowly close over the area of the path over a period of rounds equal to 1d4 plus 1 per caster level, potentially leaving the PCs trapped in brush and undergrowth during a battle. I would say it would be a concentration check, rather than just if you take damage, you lose concentration automatically, if I were to scale it for 5e. Other than that, that's a pretty cool spell. I also really need to do... yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes laptops just get hot. Although, my friend actually put it on his chest to help loosen up the gunk in the lungs, the same way you would do with a hot shower, by using the heat from the laptop. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Which can work. What does this one do? Otter's Grace is 15% competence boost on all swim check and may hold breath for twice as long as specified in Pathfinder Role-Playing Core Rulebook. Okay. 15 plus 15 to all swim checks. That is kind of cool. I guess it would be like athletics checks made to swim in 5th edition, but still, Plus 15 to swimming is Otter's Grace. That's kind of cool. Outside of time. What does this one do? It's an 8th level spell. For whatever duration you desire, up to the spell's maximum, which is 1 hour per level, you can push the target creature in its carried gear, or any one object medium or smaller sized, so you can use an object, out of time. The target vanishes immediately, and no longer exists in the world's normal time stream while the spell lasts. If the target is a caster, any spell or effect the target was maintaining are affected as though the target had just died. During the period in which the outside of time, the target cannot be located with scry or similar divinations. Not even a wish or miracle can bring the target back earlier or dispel the outside of time, since no magic remains within the normal flow of time to dispel. When the spell ends, the target returns to the same location from which it disappeared. If some other object occupies the space, the target is harmlessly shunted to the next open space. For the target, no time has elapsed. The target creature has effectively been transported into the future from its perspective. When the target returns, any timed phenomenon such as poison, onset, or the duration of abjuration spell continues from the stage or duration point. Such effect were added before the target's departure from normal time, since these effects skip through time with the creature. I wonder, now, granted that's not probably use of the spell, but it could keep food from going bad. I mean, if you need to not have your ice cream melt for 2 hours, and you have to bring it to someplace well away from the freezer, and you don't want it to melt, what you could do is shove it into temporal. Bring it there ahead of time, and then shunt it temporally, and then when it comes back out, it's still frozen. That is, or something like that, keeping food fresh, or oh, that is, yeah, Fantasy, Hero Forge would be a big drain. My computer does not do well with, Fantasy Grounds is the big one. Fantasy Grounds, and so I can't run Fantasy Grounds and OBS at the same time. It's hard enough running OBS and the browsers and all the stuff at the same time. Like, I could never do Fantasy Grounds, and Fantasy Grounds and Discord for the voice alone are also, like, not so, not so great, but it is what it is. Bloof. Fate Worse Than Death, some kids' fantasy show vibes. It does. Although it's only for an hour per level. And it's an 8th level spell, so figure caster would be like, 16, so it's less than 24 hours in any case, which is a long time, admittedly. But you don't notice your time passing, so you just kind of blink and 24 hour, 10 hours worth happened, and you just, whatever happened in the last 10 hours, you don't have any part in, which is interesting. I wonder if you can't do it to yourself. This is one creature or object. It doesn't specify you can't use it for yourself. And it doesn't have any harmless. Okay, so saving throw will does negate. But it's a harmless filly, and objects don't get saving throws. But spell resistance does apply. Which makes some sense. Dang, that's an interesting one. I was going to see, there was one that I was rolling through and there was an H and it looked really interesting. Now I want to see that one because, musical mimicry. Basically, it's just, hey, that looks interesting, is how we're doing. This spell allows you to duplicate the bard spell of your choice. So it's a 9th level cleric spell that lets you duplicate a bard spell chosen at time of casting. The chosen spell is cast as a 9th level cleric spell. The DC for any saving throws is equal to 19 plus your wisdom modifier. So you basically can steal any bard spell if you have a masterwork musical instrument. So at 9th level, you can cast any spell a bard would cast. That would be to do if you have a very powerful big bad evil guy to fight. Shove them in a box for 10 hours, take out all the minions, have a long rest, and then come back to fight them fresh. That That could be interesting. That would be. Okay. So yeah, you can cast any, if you're willing to sacrifice a 9th level spell slot, you can cast any bard spell as a 9th level, which is pretty crazy. Okay, in fairness, Pathfinder First Edition doesn't usually allow for, I should probably be practicing my voice, I just thought of that, but Pathfinder First Edition doesn't usually allow for upcasting spells. Like, you can use a higher level slot, but it won't have any more powerful effects because you used a 9th level slot. And this one, it seems like the only thing it would be to up the saving throw. Yeah, I think the only thing a 9th level, casting it in a higher level slot doesn't give you any more damage or any more healing or any more stuff, but what it does do is make the saving throws harder. Which, yeah, because spell is the 10 plus the saving throw plus or it's plus the spell level. Yeah, it's 10 plus the spell level. Plus your own. I think there's some. Actually, I could look at the Pathfinder core rulebook. I have a copy right. Should be right there somewhere. You know what? I'm curious now. I know that the spell in Pathfinder, the spell um, this is my copy of the Pathfinder core rulebook. It is the spine is taped because there was a very lovely young puppy named Addie who is my ad screen, and she chewed on it. Index QRS saving throws. Saving throw 216 to 217. Let's see what we got here. 216 to 217. That's 300. 210. These are character sheets from games 220. Oh. Okay, 216, 217. Some of these are Thirsty Sword lesbian characters, actually. Saving throw. Usually a harmful spell allows a target to make a saving throw to avoid some or all of the effects. The saving throw entry in a spell description describes what kind of saving throw the spell allows and describes how saving throws against the spell work. The spell has no effect on the subject if it's negates. Partial. The spell has an effect on the subject. Successful saving throw means that some lesser effect occurs. Half. Spell deals damage and a successful saving throw halves the damage, rounded down, and that works for evasion too. None. No saving throws allowed. Disbelief. Object. A saving throw against your spell has a DC of 10 plus the level of the spell plus your bonus for the relevant ability. Intelligence for wizard, charisma for bard, paladin or sorcerer, wisdom for cleric, druid, or ranger. A spell's level can vary depending on your class. Always use a spell level applicable to your class. Makes sense. Yeah. So yes, if you use a higher level, bard spells. Well, actually, I have, again, a book that includes a lot of the spells, baseline. There's a lot of ones like these, too, that have spirit, but, spells, skills, classes, combat, teleportation, illusion, okay. Here we go. Divination, enchantment, sorcerer, wizard spells, cleric spells, spell resistance. Here we go. Spells. Bard spells. Let's see. I mean, okay, cure moderate, so that, silence. I don't know if silence, let's see. Gaseous form. Glibness is a plus 20 bonus on bluff checks, lies, and your lies can escape magical discernment, which probably means it gets you around zone of truth. I don't know officially if it gets you on Zone of Truth, but Zone of Silence. Hang on, does clerics have... Let me see, Zone of Truth... Word of Chaos, 8th level, Wall of Stuff, Zone of Truth. Yeah, subject within lie cannot range, but I think Glibness, as a bard spell, is a third level bard spell, and Zone of Truth is a second level cleric spell, so I would say Glibness would go around it. That's a third level, but Speak with Plants... Oh, bards can cast Speak with Plants. Shadow Conjuration. Ooh. Giant Vermin. Oh no, that's for... 6th level bard spell. Animate Object. Fox's Quest. Oh, Geese. Gesh? Apparently it's pronounced Gesh. Affects any creature. Hero... Okay, that... Irreversible Dance. Yeah. Irresistible Dance. Irresistible Dance. So yeah, you could use it for Irresistible Dance. Programmed Image. A major image plus triggered by an event. Synthetic Vibration. Deals 2d10 damage per round to a freestanding structure. That's a good one, actually. Veil changes appearance of group of creatures. So that's the highest level bard spells you're going to get. But Irresistible Dance would be a fun one. Although I'm not sure it's worth a 9th level spell slot. Glibness, getting around Zone of Truth. That is a... I bet there's a rule of... Actually, I could... That's the thing about Pathfinder, is you can just ask Eric Mona. Because of the circles I move, and I actually run into the creator of Pathfinder fairly regularly. And I don't know if Glibness, your lies cannot be magically discerned, would counter Zone of Truth. That would be an interesting one. I'd have to ask Eric Mona that. And if you could cast it... But yeah, I think something like Synthetic Vibrations or the higher level stuff would probably be... Musical Mural is a third level bard spell. Music can paint a scene, but yours goes beyond that. Your music actually creates a clear image, transferring that image to the mind of anyone listening as if they had been there themselves. This is an illusion, but it's experienced internally rather than externally. Anyone watching but too far away to hear the music, or who makes a saving throw, does not experience the image. The illusion may be frightening, be ethic, or whatever you choose. Those affected by the musical mural are minus 10 on all perception checks as they lose track of their physical surroundings. Those who actively try and resist the illusion may make will saves every round to attempt to shake off the spell, although any saving throws after the initial failure suffer a minus 2 penalty, not cumulative. If the people affected by the musical mural are attacked, they're freed from the spell's effect. That's a fun little... It's 1 minute per level. It's a third level. It seems kind of like a party trick. I'm sure there's something you can do in the combat situation, but I feel like that's more of a out-of-combat party trick kind of spell. Stick bond. What does that one do? You link yourself to a particular person, place, or thing. Sorry, now I have the noun song stuck in my head. Once the spell is complete, you can sense the subject's approximate location, general condition, and even, for living things, general emotional state. The subject suffers a minus 3 penalty on the will save to resist your attempt to use scrying to watch them. So, I guess if it's a location, it would be if there's general condition. So you can tell if it's... I would say you could probably tell, like, the weather. General conditions would probably count the weather. So you could, if you bind yourself to a place, you can know the weather, or if there's trouble there. That is interesting. A 5th level spell. It's 3 hours, plus an hour every 3 levels. So, but there was an H spell that it looked really interesting. I can't remember what it was. Because I'm starting to crash again, but... So I might end the stream, but I wanted to... God's blood. You enchant a vial of holy water to become God's blood, a representation of the blood of your patron deity. You could use wine, but... Once crafted, the blood can have numerous possible uses, as detailed below. The liquid remains enchanted until 1 day passes, or until it is used. Uses for God's blood are as follows. If consumed, it acts upon the individual as if heal, for clerics who turn undead, or harm, for clerics who rebuke the undead, has been cast on them. If appointed to a dead character's lips, eyes, and chest over the heart, it acts as a raise dead spell. If the recipient is a faithful follower of the cleric's chosen deity and is good standing with the church, it acts as a resurrection. Interesting. If applied to a single weapon or up to 10 missiles, such as arrows or sling bullets, the weapon bypasses all damage reduction. Effects last 1 minute per 5 caster levels. If sprinkled over food or drink, it acts as Purify Food and Drink spell, up to 4 times the normal quantity of provisions. Huh. It's kind of cool. Gossamer Webbing. There's a lot of fun ones. Flimsy creations reduce a creature's speed by 50% and cause a -1 penalty on all attack rolls while within the area of effect or against those who are in the spell's area of effect. Those located in the cobwebs are considered to have cover. If touched by open flame, the cobwebs simply explode into flame and the entire mass burns away in a single round, inflicting 1d4 points of fire damage on any within the area. Those in the area are allowed a reflex save to avoid damage. Huh. Gossamer Webbing. So it's a first level, so it's like a mini web at first level. What was the one I was seeing, though? Oh, Halt Aging. That's a fun one. Halt Plant. 4 plant creatures immobile. So basically it works on Ents. Or Treants, which are basically Ents. Yeah. I'm sure there are specific in-game situations. And in those situations, having a 9th level cleric would mean having a cleric who can cast 9th level spells means you could do it. Or an oracle. I actually played an oracle once. Mara, who was an oracle of the goddess of death, I believe. She was cool. Phantasma, because I was using, Pathfinder deities. Hands of Judgment. Harmony of Heroes. When a bard performs the Harmony of Heroes, may select up to 1 ally per level who is within spell's range. Affected allies who hear the song receive +3 morale bonus to attack and damage rolls and to saving throws for as long as the bard regales them with the song, +2 additional rounds. Very similar to... Okay, it's a 2nd level spell. Very similar to... And it takes a full round of singing, but... similar to the bard's usual performance. I don't... Headwind... Heart Rip. Heat... Ooh. With a gesture... This is a sorcerer. 9th level necromancy. With a gesture and word of power, you draw the heart from a victim, slaying them instantly. Spell fails if the target is more than 100 hit points. Any living creature with fewer than 100 hit points and a beating heart is instantly slain. His heart is torn from his chest and flies into your hand. Creature rises next round as a zombie under your control. No saving throw. Heat Bone. Okay, it's 5th level. Still necromancy. Cause the creature's bones to begin to heat up, doing 1.d8 damage of fire damage per level. Will save for half. 10d8 maximum. If a being takes more than 50 points of damage from a single heat bone spell, it must succeed on another will save, or bones become too brittle to support it. Excessive movements deal 2d4 of damage in each instance. The brittle bones can be restored by a heal spell or a total of 40 points of healing from various cure spells. Wow. You could just... Helltake Boar. What does that one do? Spell creates a shimmering magical field around a touch shield that imbues unbridled ferocity of the boar to the wielder. The shield's wielder temporarily gains +8 morale bonus to strength and constitution, +4 morale bonus on will saves, and a -2 penalty to AC and fast healing 1. When the wielder reaches -1 hit points, may perform as though disabled, making either an attack action or move action every round until taken to negative hit point equal to his unmodified constitution, or to the wielder's hit point return to 1 or higher. In all other respects, the effects are like those of a barbarian's rage, save that the shield wielder is not fatigued when the spell ends, or when he loses the shield. So you get to, buff... See, it's -2 penalty to AC. So, basically you negate the damage of the actual benefit of having the shield. But, you get extra bonuses on will saves and strength saves, so that's pretty cool. Alright, I think that was the one. And the axe, these are just Heraldic Lamb. So yeah, Calm Emotion spell. Any creature coming within 30 feet of the shield wielder is affected as if Calm Emotions. So that, unless they succeed on the will save. Interesting. So they have different heraldic ones that do different things, which I think is kind of cool. Oh, Hide the Soul, that was it. You draw your soul, or the soul of a creature touched, from the body and store it in the body of a single animal you touch during the casting. By storing the soul elsewhere, the subject becomes immune to all spells or abilities that damage or affect the soul, such as trap soul, soulbind. Likewise, the subject whose soul is stored elsewhere cannot be affected by a clone spell. To hide a free hidden soul, the subject must bleed the animal, dealing 1 point of damage, and consume the blood. It's a little gruesome. If the animal containing the subject's soul is killed, the subject must succeed on a DC 20 con check or die as well, though it can now be returned to life normally because the soul. Okay. If the check succeeds, the subject's soul is returned to his body and the effect of the soul is ended. If the subject is killed, raised dead, resurrection, true resurrection, or even a wished miracle cannot restore life to the soul of the subject. Only by bringing the focus animal within 5 feet of the slain subject's body and bleeding it, dealing 1 point of damage, during the revivification attempt can the subject be returned to life. This immediately returns the subject's soul to the body and cancels the effect of the spell. If the animal cannot be obtained or is not within range, all attempts at revivification automatically fail until the above conditions are met. The focus animal's soul remains in its body unaffected by the caster's soul. In essence, the souls share the body of the focus animal. If spell or power that affects or damages the soul, trap soul, is cast on the focus animal, while it houses the subject's soul, 50-50 chance the subject's soul, rather than the focus animal's soul, is affected. In such a case, the effects of hide soul are immediately nullified and the subject suffers the full effects of the spell or power in question. True Seeing cast on the subject reveals a ghostly image of the focus animal overlaying the subject. If True Seeing is cast on the focus animal, a translucent ghostly image of the subject can be seen. A black sapphire gem, total value equal to at least 1,000 gold pieces times the subject character level. That's a lot. Gem is powdered and mixed up in 9 drops of blood from the subject and 9 drops of blood from the focus animal. Consumes 1/2 the mixture while the focus animal consumes the other half. Alright, so this is like an intensive ritual, but like it lets you hide your soul, which is... that is an interesting one. Yeah, the heraldic ones are fun. I do... Frog God Games is the one. I think I can put a link on the Discord, too. Alright. I need to get ready for day job. So, Soul's already gone light, but I wanted to find the Hide the Soul, because that one sounded really cool. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Good to see you, bees. Good to see you often enough. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna take care of yourself, hydrate, and all that. Hydrate or die straight, as they say. We're gonna raid somebody. Who are we going to raid? And tomorrow is Greyhawk Day, where we do Greyhawk stuff, if anyone wants to come for that. But let's see if we can't go and raid somebody. Faye's still doing stuff. Who else? God is up, but I'm gonna let's go to, we're gonna read into Faye, I think. Faye's friend. Doing, sharing, co-working stuff. So pop in, everyone say hi to Faye. And if you're following and or subscribed, you can use the little orange emojis. That should be able to help you all with that. Alright, off we go.